Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So guys, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all kept your sanity over these last few days. Honestly, if you're watching this video in the future, like 3 days from now, it probably won't have any relevance. But, well, actually, these events can definitely hurt your feelings. I know that from personal experience with the Sir Nick event 2 years ago when I lost during the champion training event. But man, this would even feel worse. I've seen so many people getting sniped, people who opened a ton of shards, even a clan member of mine, Diddy, I feel sorry for you, man. But basically, people opened a bunch of shards in the last 20 minutes or so, just get sniped by the second place or even somebody in 14th place. Who knows? But man, oh man, that is some rough stuff. Same thing with the champion training tournament. A little bit more difficult to snipe people in the champion training because in champion chase, it's literally the matter of 10, 20, even 30 minutes or less where somebody can go from basically no points to 100,000 points because you can spam open shards so incredibly quick. But today's video, it really has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Today's video, we have my Spider Stage 24 team. So going over here, Spider Stage 24, and actually, I'm going to be coming out with a video in the next few days talking about the efficiency of Spider Stage 24, 25, and 20 because some information came through, and honestly, I think I'm going to be farming 24, ideally solo farming. I'll show you guys a video on that in a few days as well. Crypt King Grawl, spoiler alert. But I'm going to be doing that hopefully in a few days. I don't have the build worked out to be 100% yet. It's like 95%, but that was only after 50 runs. So once that goes to 100 runs, it's probably going to be even more fails. So I want to get that worked out, and then I'll show you guys. But today, I want to show you all Akoth plus Archmage Helmet. So this team, the reason why I want to show you is because right here, the Burn Spiders Burn contest in the official raid Discord, I actually won first place. So I figured, hey, this team right here that I showed in the Burn Spider Burn competition, this one was just Akoth and Archmage. This team was a minute 17, so it's pretty fast. Definitely, that's a very fast team, Spider Stage 24. However, the team was not consistent, at least as much as I know, because I ran this. I just wanted to get one win, just wanted to showcase it for the competition, but I didn't actually test it that much. I did a few runs, and they failed pretty quickly, to be honest. So here, what I've done is I went ahead, ran my 100 runs. I got all the build information for you guys, and honestly, the nice thing is, you don't have to have regeneration on both champions. So let me throw some champions in here real quick. We have 3 champions, so not 4 champions for food, but it's going to be easier to achieve this, obviously, than a solo champion build, right? So let me go ahead and run this in the background. While we do that, or after we do this, I'll open up the gearing and the masteries, and it's actually maybe not too bad. Obviously, this is soloing, so it's going to be a little difficult for some people, depending on where you're at in the game, of course. Now, one thing to keep in mind, make sure when you do this, that your food champions, if they're getting a turn, the champions who are taking a turn aren't messing up the runs. Okay, so like I did it with Maneater before, and he survived the hit somehow, and he placed unkillable. He stayed alive, and the run probably would have failed. I went ahead and backed out of it because I didn't want to skew the results. But Diabolist is a champion who does increased speed. Make sure if you have those champions, you kind of watch the runs, but sometimes those champions do take a turn. Another thing, bolster set has been talked about as being possibly a substitution for regeneration, substitution for guardian, so on and so forth. But remember, if you have a bolster set, it's going to be a 3-turn buff on everybody. And if it's healing at 10% every turn, that's amazing. But the downside is each one of these food champions are going to have a 30% shield based on the shield from the main champion. So if that main champion has 80,000 HP, these 3 other champions are going to have 30% shields based on that 80,000 HP champion, which is going to be a pretty big shield, meaning they're going to have to take quite a few hits from these little spiderlings to actually die. And the whole point of this stuff is you want those people to die as fast as possible. You want your food champions out of there, so it's just these 2 main champions going, so the runs are pretty quick. If you have all these other champions taking turns, slowing the animations, it's going to be a lot slower of a run. This one right here has been about, I think, a minute 30 to about 2 minutes, somewhere in that range. It is not in unlimited FPS right now. Let me open up RSL Helper and see what it's at. So right now we're at 144 FPS. So it is on PC. It's going to be a little bit faster than if you're on mobile, but I'd say a minute 30 to 2 minutes really isn't that bad of a time whatsoever. And stage 24, I think I'm going to start farming this more than even stage 25 and stage 20 because the benefits, I think, definitely outweigh any potential downsides. But honestly, I'm seeing more benefit in 24 than compared to 25. So let me open up the builds on my champions. We got a phone call coming in. Let's see who this is. Hopefully they can wait till after this. Oh, it's an alarm going off. Never mind. We're good. It's not time to wake up. But hey, we have Masteries on Akoth right here. First off, let me actually show you guys the consistency. This is the most important thing. I want to make sure whenever I show you guys these videos, that you know how consistent the run is, because I've seen people basically get inspiration from other builds, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on YouTube, and I've definitely provided some builds myself that I thought were consistent. I ran it once, it looks safe, it's definitely very possible, but then after you run it 10 times, it fails 3 of them. So it's not the person who posted it's, I guess, bad intentions, it's just what happens when you don't run it all these many times. So I ran it 99 out of 100, 99 out of 99, sorry, and I just now ran it one more for you guys, so that puts it at 99 or 100 out of 100, meaning 100% consistency. So here we go. It is Akoth, Archmage, and then the 3 food champions. It doesn't matter at all what those 3 food champions are. I have a few RSL helpers open right now, so that's kind of why I'm getting messed up with this. But let's go ahead and close out of this one. So first up, let me show you guys Akoth's. Actually, I'll go back to the actual champion and show you the build inside the game. But eventually, I'm going to have a spreadsheet with all the champions builds, so you guys can just check it out from there. So we have Akoth and Archmage. These 2 champions are going to be very needed. They're Magic Affinity champions. They're both free from the Doom Tower, which is pretty nice if you ask me. But being Magic Affinity on stage 24, they're going to get weak hits, which is a huge help in actually getting through the stage. Now with Akoth, make sure he's fast. Now I have my Akoth faster than Archmage, but because of Archmage's turn meter boost, he actually does begin to outspeed Akoth later in the round, so that is important. But initially, Akoth is a little bit faster than Archmage, and that's seeming to work out great so far. This banner, this cleansing banner, honestly, you don't need that. It doesn't really matter. If you got it, great. If not, it's not going to make a huge difference, okay? So we do have lifesteal gear on him. We have lifesteal plus immortal. I don't think the immortal is necessary, but I had it to have the extra HP. The amount of HP it's healing is really insignificant, but it is making it 100%. Well, it is contributing to the 100%. This is part of the build. So if you guys do the build, don't have immortal, and you're getting some fails, that could be why. Now, obviously, if you run this team, say 1,000 times, it's probably going to have some fails, right? But so far, there's been 0 fails. Also, it's going to depend on who your food champions running alongside is. Sometimes they do mess it up. But these are all the pieces. Nothing extremely crazy. My Great Hall is fully maxed out, so that is going to contribute. My Demon Spawn epics should be finished out on my faction Guardians or whatever. So that is another contributing factor. We do have resistance. I do have his resistance up to 300 or very close. That did seem to be the breaking point on the consistency. So before, I actually had the banner, the resistance banner, swapped out for an HP banner with speed on it. So this banner is actually really good. This one right here, but speed is not the most important thing. So this is what I had before. I had 254 speed and 202 accuracy. This was not 100% consistent. This was actually pretty inconsistent, but a little swap from the quite a bit extra speed, quite a bit extra HP, well, not significant amount, but a decent amount, right? Swap over to now having a good amount of resistance, 298, which honestly isn't even the goal of 315, but this has made it 100% consistent. So definitely try to shoot for these numbers. Now with Akoth, I want him to be lower HP than Archmage, because Akoth, he can be my tank, not a big deal, but you want to pick one champion to tank, okay? Whether it's your Akoth, whether it's your Archmage, doesn't really matter. Just decide on one champion to tank. For me, that was Akoth. May make more sense for you to do Archmage, but whoever is your tank, you want to make sure they have lower HP than the other champion, but a lot higher defense. So here we have 55,000 HP and 4,100 defense. We have him in lifesteal set, which works amazing because every single ability Akoth hits for. So every ability has a chance to heal him a decent amount, especially with War Master procs, which we'll get into in just a minute. But make sure his HP is good. Make sure his defense is good. The HP, he does have an aura, which does contribute in Spider stage 24. So it's great, perfect there. You can cut back on his HP just a little bit and be perfectly fine. His speed, you want to make sure he's faster than Archmage. It's not significantly faster, but he is a little bit faster. Resistance, as close to 300 as you can, ideally 315, but this has worked pretty well so far. The accuracy, you can actually go a little bit lower because, or if you pick up this mastery right here, which I have, you can actually go a little bit lower. You want about 200 accuracy, somewhere around there. So as far as his skills go, you do want to make sure this A3 ability is fully booked. The A2 ability, you don't have to have it fully booked, but I do have it fully booked. So if you want the run to be like mine, maybe go ahead and get it fully booked. Decreased crit rate, not a huge deal. They're not going to crit you anyways because it is weak affinity, so they can't crit you anyways, as far as I'm aware. Now, as far as the masteries, let's go over these. These masteries let's use correct English here. But these masteries are the ones that have worked for me well so far. We have good turn meter boosting. Do not take Cycle of Magic, in my opinion. Do not take Evil Eye, because Cycle of Magic and Evil Eye both are pretty RNG heavy. He can miss the Evil Eye, and it could mess up the overall turns. He could not proc Cycle of Magic sometimes, or he could activate Cycle of Magic which can make the runs take longer or go faster. So just don't take Cycle of Magic whatsoever. But everything else I have is working very well. I'm not worried about the extra speed. I'm not worried about Oppressor. Worried about this. If you're going lifesteal, make sure you take War Master, because I've noticed without War Master, he was not healing enough. But with his 2 big AoE hits, chances to proc War Master, his A1 ability, chances to proc War Master on the big spider, he keeps himself alive very, very well. Now the next champion, Archmage Helmet. So Archmage Helmet is the first Doom Tower champion that you get. He is in Regeneration set. Now, he can be in Regeneration, he can be in Guardian, he can probably even be in 3 pieces of Immortal. You just want to make sure that he takes a lot of turns, okay? His turn meter can't be reduced. His A1 ability increases his turn meter. So yeah, he's taking a lot of turns as it is. Make sure he's in some kind of set to heal himself. If you do bolster, it's going to be probably weird because of the shield it puts on your allies. But for him, make sure he has good HP, good defense. Make sure his speed is reasonable, okay? 225 has been working very well for me so far. Make sure his crit rate is at least 55%. The reason why I say 55% is because he's going to have a built-in 15%, which takes him to 85% needed at minimum against weak affinity Spider Sage 24. But then he has the A3 ability that gives him increased crit rate. So 85% minus 30% is going to be that 55%. So make sure he has at least 55% crit rate, because you want to make sure every time you use this time slip ability that he's actually getting a crit. And he'll go A3 and then his A2. So he'll always have increased crit rate up before he uses that A2 ability. Everything else, make sure crit damage doesn't really matter. Resistance doesn't really matter as long as you're making sure if he's going to be your tank, get resistance on him. But if he's not going to be your tank, go ahead and get resistance on Akoth. But for resistance on Archmage, doesn't really matter. He's not going to get hit by the spiders anyways. Accuracy, make sure it's at least 200. You're going to be good to go. We have the, actually we don't have the Swarm Smiter, but he's still landing the stuff pretty reasonably. So as far as his gear, let me go ahead and click through this. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast. I'm going to try to slow it down just a little bit. Not an auctioneer over here, but we have defense percentage. I've really been leaning more and more into the defense percent. We don't even have this stuff booked. So the speed, don't be a speed fiend. Honestly, I used to be a speed fiend, wanted more and more speed. But if you just take a step back, you don't need the crazy amounts of speed. Make sure his HP is good. You don't want the spiderlings to switch targets over to Archmage. If they do, it probably won't be the end of the world. You could even build it to kind of juggle that. But for me, I want Akoth to be focused and Archmage just kind of take the back seat, basically. His skills, they are fully booked. Everything is fully booked. He doesn't get turn meter reduction, which is very nice. His aura does nothing. Masteries. He does have Fearsome Presence. So Fearsome Presence is a solid mastery because his stun doesn't have a 100% chance to land on everybody. The second hit has a 50% chance of placing stun for 1 turn, and the 50% chance books up to 75% chance. So getting Fearsome Presence actually allows that 75% chance to go to an 80% chance, which allows me to stun most of the spiderlings, but not all of them. So I do like Fearsome Presence. I do think there's some good justifiability, I guess, in taking Bulwark instead, because that does decrease the damage of all allies that they receive. So it could help your gearing with Akoth. So if you have Archmage and Guardian gear plus Bulwark, make sure he's tanky because the spiderlings may switch over to him, but it may help overall in lightening the load on your Akoth build in general. As far as everything else has been great. I do like the Harvest Despair. Allows him to get a little more turn meter boost from the Arcane Celerity. Really, Archmage taking a lot of turns is fantastic because if he misses those stuns, it allows him to come back and place more stuns. However, I did not take Cycle of Magic or Evil Eye because I don't want that RNG happening. Arcane Celerity and Rapid Response is enough RNG for me, so we're just going to leave it there. We have the alarm going off again. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. So that is the build on these 2 champions. Hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully we clicked through everything, clarified everything. But these 2 champions have been running 100%. So here we go. We have Akoth build right here. We have Archmage build right here. And then we have both their builds right here together if you guys want to see just this screen. So just some good healing on Archmage. You could possibly try Lifesteal. I don't know. I haven't actually tested it. But Archmage only has... He has 1 AoE ability, 1 ability that does no damage, and then 1 single target ability. So unlike Akoth, Archmage doesn't get as much benefit from having Lifesteal set, whereas Akoth gets benefit literally every single turn. Big AoE hit on 2 abilities, and then a pretty good single target ability that doesn't really happen that frequently because his other abilities are on a pretty low cooldown. So the builds that I have right now seem to be working great. Obviously, I mean, it's 100% consistent. Hopefully I don't eat my words right here, but so far so good. This is definitely a very solid team. Everybody's going to have these champions. Hopefully you guys can achieve these builds. I'd say it's definitely a much more reasonable build overall, but it's still going to be stat demanding, right? I do think you could definitely go, well, I do think, not necessarily definitely, but I do think you could cut back on the builds just a little bit. But as far as I'm aware, this is what's worked. This is what I've got to prove out to be 100% consistent. So this is what I'm going to be running with, guys. But stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some spider comparison soon because I need to run a ton of spider anyways because my silver is so bad. Some spider comparison, and I also want to make a Crypt King Grawl solo stage 24 100% consistency guide. I did some runs earlier, did like 50, but he failed 3 of them. So I'm not going to continue that. I got to adjust the build just a little bit, but we'll see what we come out with. With his presets, if you use preset AIs, he's going to be pretty easy. But Crypt King Grawl is very weird in the sense that if not every single enemy has burn on him, he won't do the freeze. So it's really weird. He has to time his stuff out perfectly. But yeah, if you use presets, he's very easy. But if you don't, he's going to be a little bit more demanding, a little bit more tricky to actually get his build to work out correctly. But I'll get it, guys. I'll get it, and I'll send it out to you all. I'll have it a video hopefully in the next few days, but I will be grinding it away. So a minute 30, minute 40, I guess what we're coming out here. Sometimes we get lucky and we actually kill all the spiderlings, so when the big spider does its heal, it's actually a pretty small heal. But guys, I'm going to sell this piece of gear. 79,000 silver, boom, easy peasy. But there we go. 15 million silver. Hopefully I get some more pretty soon. But guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have any more interesting duo champions, let me know. Definitely leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. Definitely helps out. These videos take a lot to make, as in a lot of resources, like a lot of gems, a lot of silver, a lot of energy, spinning all that down. So your likes go a long way, your subs, and your support in general. With that said, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. These mini mix packs used to be my favorite purchase. Later, guys.